I have realized over time that learning English is not something that happens overnight, and the real improvement comes only when we practice English day by day with patience, consistency, and a positive mindset instead of expecting instant fluency.
I have realized over time that learning English is not something that happens overnight, and the real improvement comes only when we practice English day by day with patience, consistency, and a positive mindset instead of expecting instant fluency.
Exactly, and when we practice English every day, even simple activities like reading a paragraph, listening to a short video, or speaking a few sentences aloud help our brain become familiar with the language naturally.
That is very true, and I have noticed that when I speak English regularly, my fear of making mistakes slowly disappears, because mistakes become part of the learning process instead of something to be ashamed of.
I think fear is one of the biggest reasons why people stop practicing English, because they worry about pronunciation, grammar errors, or being judged, instead of focusing on communication and gradual improvement.
Yes, and that is why practicing English day by day in a comfortable environment, like talking to a friend, speaking in front of a mirror, or even thinking in English, can make a huge difference in confidence.
I personally try to include English in my daily routine by writing a small diary entry every night, even if it is just 5 or 6 sentences, because it helps me organize my thoughts and improve my vocabulary at the same time.
That is a great habit, and I practice English by watching short videos, listening to podcasts, and repeating sentences aloud, which helps me understand natural pronunciation, rhythm, and sentence structure.
Listening is such an important part of daily practice, because when we listen carefully, we start recognizing common phrases and expressions that native speakers use, which later become easier to use in our own conversations.
I agree, and another helpful method is reading something in English every day, like news articles, short stories, or even social media posts, because it exposes us to different writing styles and new words in context.
Sometimes people complain that they do not have enough time to practice English, but I believe that if we really want to learn, we can easily find small moments during the day to practice, like during travel or before sleeping.
That is absolutely correct, because daily practice does not mean studying for hours, but it means staying connected to the language regularly so that English becomes a natural part of our life.
Another thing I have learned is that practicing English day by day helps us think in English instead of translating from our mother tongue, which makes speaking faster and more fluent over time.
Yes, thinking in English is a powerful habit, and I try to do that by describing my surroundings or planning my day in English in my mind, which surprisingly improves my speaking ability.
I also feel that consistency is more important than perfection, because even if we make mistakes every day, those mistakes teach us lessons and push us closer to fluency.
That is such an important point, because many learners stop practicing when they feel they are not improving fast enough, without realizing that slow and steady progress is still progress.
Practicing English daily also improves our confidence in real-life situations, like interviews, presentations, or casual conversations, because we become more comfortable expressing our thoughts.
Yes, and confidence plays a huge role in communication, because even if our grammar is not perfect, clear and confident speech helps others understand us better.
I think having a practice partner also helps, because when we speak with someone regularly, we feel motivated and responsible to continue practicing every day.
I completely agree, because practicing alone can sometimes feel boring, but practicing with a friend makes learning enjoyable and encourages us to speak more.
Another useful tip is setting small daily goals, like learning 5 new words, speaking for 10 minutes, or writing a short paragraph, because small goals are easier to achieve and keep us motivated.
Yes, and when we achieve those small goals daily, it builds confidence and creates a sense of achievement, which motivates us to continue practicing English regularly.
Over time, daily practice changes our mindset, because English no longer feels like a subject to study, but like a skill we use naturally to express ourselves.
That is true, and I believe that when we practice English day by day with interest and patience, fluency becomes a natural result rather than a stressful goal.
I am really glad we talked about this, because it reminds me that learning English is a journey, and every small step we take daily brings us closer to our goal.
I feel motivated too, and from today onward, I am determined to practice English every day, not perfectly, but consistently, because consistency is the key to real improvement.
I have been thinking a lot lately about my future and my career choices, and honestly, the more I think about it, the more confused I become. Because there are so many options available today and everyone around me seems to have a different opinion about what I should do with my life.
I completely understand how you feel, because I am going through the same confusion myself, and sometimes it feels like choosing a career is not just about selecting a job but about deciding how you will spend most of your life, your energy, and your time.
Exactly, and that is why I started reading about career counseling, because I realized that taking advice from random people who are not aware of my interests, strengths, and personality may not be the best way to make such an important decision.
That is actually a very mature thought, because career counseling is not just about someone telling you what to become, but it is more about helping you understand yourself better, including your skills, values, interests, and long-term goals.
Yes, and what I found interesting is that a career counselor does not force a single path on you, but instead they guide you by showing multiple possibilities and explaining how each option matches your abilities and preferences.
I agree, and I think one of the biggest benefits of career counseling is that it helps reduce anxiety and pressure, because when you have a clear plan and proper guidance, you stop comparing your journey with others and start focusing on your own growth.
That is so true, because I often feel stressed when I see my friends already deciding their careers with confidence, while I am still trying to figure out what I actually enjoy doing and what kind of work would make me feel satisfied in the long run.
Career counseling can really help in such situations, because through aptitude tests, personality assessments, and one-on-one discussions, it gives you a clearer picture of what you are naturally good at and what kind of environment suits you best.
I also learned that career counseling is not only useful for students who are confused, but it is equally helpful for people who want to change their career, upgrade their skills, or even rediscover their passion after feeling stuck in a routine job.
That makes a lot of sense, because careers today are not linear like they used to be in the past, and people now switch fields, learn new skills, and explore different roles, which makes proper guidance even more important.
Another thing I appreciate about career counseling is that it provides realistic information about different careers, including required skills, education, job opportunities, income expectations, and future growth, instead of showing only the glamorous side.
Yes, and that realistic approach is necessary, because many students choose careers based on trends or social pressure without understanding the challenges involved, which later leads to dissatisfaction and regret.
I feel that if students are introduced to career counseling at an early stage, they can make informed decisions and avoid wasting years switching courses or feeling lost without a clear direction.
I completely agree, because early guidance helps students align their education with their career goals, which saves time, money, and emotional stress, while also boosting confidence and motivation.
One thing I was worried about earlier was whether career counseling would limit my options, but now I understand that it actually expands my perspective by introducing me to careers I never even knew existed.
That is such an important realization, because many people think career counseling is restrictive, while in reality it opens doors to new possibilities and helps you see how diverse and flexible career paths can be.
I think career counseling also teaches decision-making skills, because instead of blindly following advice, you learn how to evaluate options, set priorities, and take responsibility for your choices.
Yes, and that skill is valuable not only for career decisions but for life in general, because learning how to make thoughtful decisions helps you handle challenges with clarity and confidence.
After understanding all this, I feel more hopeful and less afraid about my future, because even if I do not have all the answers right now, I know that with proper guidance, I can find a path that suits me.
That is the best mindset to have, because career counseling does not promise instant success, but it gives you direction, self-awareness, and a structured plan, which are essential for long-term growth.
I am actually planning to book a session with a career counselor soon, because I want to explore my strengths honestly and make decisions based on understanding rather than fear or pressure.
That sounds like a wise decision, and listening to you has motivated me as well to consider career counseling, because I realize that asking for guidance is not a sign of weakness but a step toward clarity.
Absolutely, and I believe that when we take responsibility for our career choices and seek the right guidance, we not only build successful careers but also create a meaningful and fulfilling life.
I could not agree more, because at the end of the day, a career should not just pay our bills, but it should also align with our values, interests, and purpose, and career counseling helps us move closer to that balance.
Thank you for watching.